Hi everyone. Today I would like to bring an energy reading or energy check on the current situation, the events in this realm, the greater realm in which the world operates within. There's a big hype on the Three-Eye Atlas. I think that it's more New Age focused than actual scientific. I mean, you get the science brains around that as well. Everything is on it like bees to honey. But in actual fact, I think it's interesting that there is such a vast alteration in the energetic field of the realm in its greater capacity and how it functions. On a metaphysical level, it is perceived as a particle of dust, or a dust particle that is propelling in a particular pathway. Now I know that there's going to be some that are going to say, but Stefan Burns says this, or NASA says that, or Pam Gregory says this. These are literally all the people that have got their dibs on first prime property to observe this element. This element is exactly what it is. It's an element. And there's some remote viewers that have made actual studies on it, and they all come up with different things. So if you are aware of how to perceive and really observe things, you'll have noticed that how come everyone has her own view on it? How come the remote viewers are all looking at it and they see different things? Because you can actually just look around and you'll see it. There's some that haven't done any remote studies on it because they can't see it either. I know of a few people that have mentioned that as well. I've looked, and all I can see is it's not something on the outside as much as it is on a physical trajectory as it's moving, but it's more about what's going on inside of how it is being perceived. So what you're looking at is essentially, one could say, the way that the reality functions within where you live, the toroidal field within the nature of your existence, okay? Or the information from beyond Thunderdome should make more sense now. It should matter more to you, because the information of the data of this thing that seems to split up, and then it's this, and then it's more particles there, and then it's that, and then it's this, and it's he said, she said, this and that, and it's this and it's that. It is a pronounced impact on the consciousness of the collective human race in itself, along with that which is in the, obviously all the kingdoms, the animal, mineral and plant kingdoms are all impacted on a particular level in terms of its growth, its functionality, in how it operates. This is now, all life is impacted in a way that it is challenging the, let's say, forceful nature of evolution of the soul to take place. So essentially everything is being forced to evolve faster now on a spiritual level. The technocrats are trying to put robots on the moon now. And the war stories are going around the game park. All of these things are all still there. They're all still the same. They're all just a little bit more altered, a little bit more edited, a little bit more intensified, made to make you feel a little bit more stressy. It's trying to nip at your heels like a little dog that can't stop and it's trying to call your focus away from yourself every time. And it's very much how does it impact the human soul as a collective. And why I say it in that way is obviously not all human souls are impacted in the same way. Obviously, we are all unique and different and individual in our own existence and functionality. But it's how the energy of the realm impacts the greater form of human soul. Okay, so what I'm saying is everybody at the stadium, but not everybody is going to do the Mexican wave, obviously. Based on the information of the toroidal model or the torus model within the material of the Beyond Thunderdome, and how the realm operates within that capacity of field, which is the model space on a metaphysical level that can show up these anomalies the best. It can show up information better because it's not just perceived as linear or spatial. It is something that is showing up why there's a lot of change happening. And obviously it also impacts the zodiac focus. The focus on the zodiac is also impacted in such a way. And it is about the dynamics that is within the system overlay that is being altered in a form because, or in a way, because of something that is coming on the something that's coming from the outside in. So the reason the title is the way it is because I am using this entire experience as a thought field experiment. I'm bringing it up to you as a thought field experiment because that is essentially what it is. A thought field experiment requires certain parts and parties and elements to play a particular role so that there is an impression of a certain age or a desire to be brought forward. In simple terms, you need the players and you need the backdrop to play the picture, to play the story out. You need the willing volunteers to observe the story as it's playing out. So what I'm explaining to you is if there is something on the stars, these things on the outside, the moon, these celestial bodies, as it moves close around the reality, the earth, the world, the world in which you function, it impacts the energy field around it and it reverberates to the people that live or the life that functions on that world, okay, in that plane. And in the same way, the energy of this particular, let's call it comet or whatever you want to call it, because they don't seem to know what to call it. I'm going to call it a dust particle. And it is impacting the energetic field in which the entire celestial system is functioning within, and it's actually impacting all the other celestial bodies within it, which is creating a domino effect into this reality. But the funny thing is it's not going to be visible. You won't see it, so they say. Why won't you see it? Because perhaps it's not supposed to be seen. Perhaps the dust particle dissolves away. Perhaps it melts away like an ice cream on a summer day. The fact is, on an energetic level, the way that the energy operates is saying that there's an energetic change from within the realm and not actually from the outside. And that is what is the anomaly. because the more there's change from within the realm in itself, preparing itself going forward for an immersive or impersonal contact with something on the outside that's floating by, that's trajectory floating by, it's altering the way it appears. And so what I want to say is you need to use the thought field, you need to look at this thought field experiment and use the double slit theory as an example to apply this, to test it out. Because every time when they look at it, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, I'm not saying it's not even there, I'm not saying that it's a figment of your imagination, I'm saying whenever they look at it, it changes. It changes its pattern, it changes its color, it changes this or that. And it is because it is essentially highlighting the condition that is within this realm, or the state in which this realm functions within. It is actually, if you can't see that thing, you must look at what is here. If you're looking at the shiny mirror, then whatever you're looking at in the shiny mirror is shining back to you. So in other words, I would like to propose and say, apart with regards to this thought field experiment, along with all the other thought forms that are also collectively focused on that thing, that it's actually happening from within this realm. That is why that thing is behaving the way that it is, because there's a lot of onlookers, there's a lot of people that are trying to create magical stuff with regards to it. There's even a channel that's live all the time with some person that calls herself, they are being blessed by the comet. I mean, that's okay, to each his own, all right? But the fact remains that on a metaphysical level, knowing that the realm in which you function is essentially based on the torus field, which means there's an energy flow, as you know. If you don't know what a torus field looks like, if you're brand new here, welcome to the Promethean Channel. My name is Aurora, and if you don't know what this is, what I'm saying, what gibberish are you talking, then please follow the video Beyond Thunderdome to understand the way that the realm is functioning within the metaphysical perspective. And so when I say perspective, I'm saying that it is a way in which you can observe everything that functions in this entire domain of reality. And that is basically how you can understand on a metaphysical level, which means you're thinking a little higher within your consciousness. You're using your pneumatic consciousness, your spirit energy, your mind, body, soul, and spirit in alignment, and looking, observing the entire experience as for what it is perceived to be, as a thought field experiment, because essentially that is what it is. If you're looking at this foreign object that's flying past by, what is its main purpose? What is its plan? Is it an alien? Is it whatever? Is it space poop? Do you know what I'm saying? The fact is, there is an energetic transference towards its shape that changes. It doesn't matter what it is. The fact is, it's how it's changing. It's when it's being changed. It's when certain things happen, what does it actually do? How does it impact the reality? My argument is, it is not impacting the reality from the outside, but the reality is impacting it from the inside out. And based on that, this is why it cannot be seen, because it will dissolve away. Or right now it is in front of the sun, it is in front of the archetype of life-giving, Apollo, or whatever it was called, Ra, whatever the archetypal belief of that sun is standing in its way. And so therefore there's a behavior that is playing itself out in this realm. So now what it's also doing is, this may be extremely, you may need to go through this information again, because this is just information that I've been looking at, that I've been studying for a little while, just to make sure that it's possible to actually even convey what the sensations are that is being experienced. For some of you, you will experience a sense of change within yourself because you are encountering yourself as an energy that moves through life. Your spiritual soul evolution path, your life path, is encountering an anomaly that reflects itself back to you as perhaps you feel like an anomaly. Maybe you feel outsider to, as opposed to the way that the realm operates. Maybe you are seeing now the things that don't belong. Perhaps they are within yourself. This is why I'm saying you got to look at this from an internal perspective when you're observing something like that as it's moving around. Much like the same argument where people are saying, where it is said, hermetically said, or claimed, whatever, who knows. I've not really gone into the hermeticism actually to really pick anything out. So far, the only thing that I'm picking up from the hermetics is that I'm talking about the original hermeticists, not the pseudo New Age fusion types. I'm talking about that they are the theological principles of alchemy in a sense. Okay, that is basically what that is. So if it's being said that the planets and everything are inside of you, then why is that not inside of you? Why is that thing not also inside of you? Why are storms and rain and these things, why is it not happening inside of you? Of course it is. It is happening inside of you. When you're sad, there's tears. When you're angry, there's rage, there's wind, there's storms, there's volcanoes inside of you. It is impressioned within this realm. I've said this for so long, and I've mentioned it a few times, perhaps more than I should have, that the realm is adetic. Okay, and I've mentioned it in the Beyond Thunderdome. Adetic means if you are looking at something and you look away, it's photographic memory. There's a memory of the energy that is there when you've looked at it. I've explained in previous work what happens when a soul leaves the physical form, how it is operating within the adetic nature, the photographic nature of the reality in which it is finding itself in. In other words, your grandfather always used to sit on that big rocking chair. He's now dead, and you swear you can still see him sitting on that chair. His spirit may be elsewhere. That is an adetic imprint of where a soul used to experience the most time. The nature of this reality, the physical nature in which you exist, is not physical. Obviously. I know that's like, obviously. The nature of this reality is adetic, which means everything you think, you contemplate on, you focus on, you have reactions towards it. How you feel towards it is how it reacts towards you. And that is exactly why I found it important to explain about the pneumatic metaphysics course, why I set it up as free. It is there to assist a person to understand what is within you. How can you be in control of what you experience in your reality if you're not in control of yourself? How are you able to understand certain things of the nature of the people that you are dealing with in your life. If you don't understand yourself, how are you unable to not realize that that thing is inside of the nature of this realm? It is playing out a role. It is playing out a role that is basically quite remarkable, because it is clearing out things that have been standing in the way. It has been altering information to actually allow for true information to come through. And so what is going to happen now in the course of the next few months to a year, which we'll look in energetically, is that there's going to be a differentiation of the variables of what is real, what is true, versus what is bullshit. And it's coming stronger and stronger through. You're going to experience this. You're going to see, no. But it's also going to make you think. And that's something that's needed, because there's not a lot of thinking happening these days. I see that there's a lot of focus on things that are short supply to feed on short bursts of supply, which means that the human nature that is observing those things is in an energetic deficit, which means there is not enough energy inside to focus on what is important within. There is too much observation on everything on the outside, but not enough inside. So essentially, there is that awareness that something's missing. And then you're going on this patrol online and you're scrolling, doom scrolling. You can doom scroll for hours. You can literally do that. And you've thought nothing other than looking for the next quick fix. What is it? What is it? What is it? And if something happens, you're like ready. You want to hear this thing. You want to be engorged in stress, because then you can feel something, a little bit of a something, and the adrenaline can kick in a little bit so that you can experience that. This particular behavior is a symptom of what is missing within. Let me say it's not your fault. Okay. I'm not saying or accusing you that it's your fault or that you lose interest. I'm not even talking to you per se. I'm saying you as in general. Lose interest in things that are of a much deeper nature, because it forces you to think, and you feel, I can't think so hard. It hurts my head. I can actually practically hear people say that whenever there's something that's a little bit more deeper, a little bit more different. And when it's different and when it's unique, then there's an aversion to it because of what is within that person. People that are feeling negative towards things that are whole, that are complete, are people that are in deficit within themselves. Because only if you were in a fully whole presence within yourself would you be able to appreciate the painting in its whole nature. It's not half painted, colored in. It's not a music piece that's half made and it stops in the middle of the air. People want to complete that. It's a little part inside of the brain that wants to finish a little loop so that it will want to color in the rest of the drawings. It wants to add the few music notes onto that song because they believe it's not finished. And so that belief system of it's not complete, I feel I need to have this, I can't get that. I'm saying this in general speaking. There's this need to want to feed that energy is something that has to be managed, because if it's not managed, that person becomes part of the rest of the wave of energy that moves with every whim of a wind that blows. It just moves along. It's like dust. This is why I'm calling it a dust particle that's floating in the air somewhere out there. It's here and there. It's yes, no, we have bananas today. I mean, it literally is. And its imminent impact is yes, no, we have bananas today. That's the frenzy that it's playing on. Okay. And that frenzy is what gives that entity that set up that program for that idea to come through as something that's going to happen imminently. It's always imminent. It's always almost there. So, this is what I'm saying. This is where you are actually able to observe the entire realm space in its entire dynamic and how it responds to something like that. If actually, let me say it's about time something like this should have happened, because then there's this awareness of what's right and what is not right within. And this is why the title is about what is within the mind's eye. And is Alice going to look through the looking glass? Because this is what's happening right now. This entire event with all of these things that's playing out is Alice in Wonderland looking through the looking glass, and what is looking back at her is perhaps what is within her. And this is why the anomalous dust particle is essentially a trigger for these events to take place internally within the human condition. And so I will basically leave this idea with you. I thought I'd just come on and just drop and share my thoughts with you. And I will speak to you soon.